talk to people across the spectrum. On one side, you have people who truly believe that privacy is a human right and that we need to actually build everything privacy first and then see what happens. But we have this $100 billion industry that's been built on cookies and people-based IDs, and they're like, well, how far do we have to go not to lose our whole business? And so I feel like we're sort of taking these incremental steps, and then there's this almost like apocalyptic version of the world. And what I think we've done is actually not realize that they're both true, that there's a big chunk of the world that is actually privacy-centric. They're the people who do ad blockers, they're the folks who are coming in through Tor. This is what exists, and it's a much bigger chunk than people want to realize. And I'm surprised not to see more people saying, hey, I'm going to address this as a market. That's actually a juicy market, is privacy by design, consumer-facing advertising. Everyone seems to be like, hey, look what I can do as the market sort of crumbles. And so I'm very curious about that tension. I'm surprised not to see more of that innovation happening.
On the one hand, the consumer is really desirous and anxious to be able to receive marketing messages and communications from brands in a way that is relevant to what you're interested in. An example, in the auto industry, we always talked about reaching a consumer when they're, quote, in market, close quote, for a car. To be able to communicate and get messages on that topic, I think you'd be happy to do that because it's something you're interested in. Where it starts to get creepy is when it's something you might have randomly searched for, and all of a sudden I told a story the other day about a watch. I happened to do some research on a watch, and then, of course we all know this, I was inundated with every bit of watch, stuff that you could imagine till I was blue in the face. I actually don't even want to tell time anymore. I got so annoyed. No, I'm kidding. But, the truth is, the consumer is at a position where they have to balance and use kind of judgment around the amount of privacy they're willing to part with in what the value exchange, or, I'm a lawyer by trade, so Jessica, I apologize for using the bit of Latin that I know, but the quid pro quo for the consumer on how much they want to share from a privacy perspective, and the corresponding effect of receiving messages that are more relevant.
Consumers are increasingly more savvy to what their information and data is worth, which means we have to help brands understand the value exchange that we have to give them to gather that first-party data and then to act on it. And I think it's a constant education. Usually we've been behind the regulations and catching up to things like GDPR and CCPA. And I think now what we're seeing with brands is that they're actually getting themselves ahead of that, thinking data first, thinking privacy first, understanding how important that is for consumers. But we have a lot of work to continue to do.
It's definitely a hot topic here at CES. We think about this in two ways, because of course we are an advertiser. We're out there telling the world about Instacart, but we're also an advertising platform. And where I think retail media, and specifically the Instacart advertising platform, has a really unique offering, especially in this environment of increased privacy needs, is that we have our own first-party data, we have closed-loop measurements, and we're able to provide brands with real insights based on purchase data. So for us, we're able to offer a privacy-safe experience for our advertisers that still lets them learn about that consumer behavior.